Hi, I'm Lucy.
I'm Hayley, and we're going to go through the top 10 worst things about being in an office job. So I recently just left my office job after being there full-time for a number of years. So
A number of years.
Exciting.
8 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you used to work in an office as well.
Yeah, I worked in an office. It didn't last very long. One of the things I really don't miss about being in an office is the hot desking, where you go in the morning and you just got to pick a desk. You've seen the person the day before eating chips and cheesels, licking their fingers and then going back to the keyboard.
Do you want some?
You've got to sit there then and use their phone. There's like a lot of wet wipes around the office. Yes. Wiping everything down every morning.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I certainly don't miss the communal kitchen. The fridge was often overstocked with things and people wouldn't remove old foods.
Just mouldy things in the
It's
fridge.
a bit of a mess in there.
Didn't you say the kettle was gross?
Yeah, at some point I made a mistake of looking inside the kettle. Ooh, okay. That's a bit interesting. The microwave.
People putting things in there without lids and
And
explosions on the ceiling of the microwave.
And me cooking up oats and it would taste like someone else's fish.
God. Germs is definitely a thing in the office when you're stuck inside a closed-up building.
Yeah, well, when you're in a high-rise in particular, can't open any windows, just all recycled air coming through, just spraying the germs around.
Yeah. Somebody would cough or sneeze and I'm just like, it's just going to
Cycling
make its way around.
One thing I remember is passive-aggressive notes. Just like, no please, no thank you. It's just like, wash, dry, put away. Yeah, at some point there was a note that just said, turn off, we're not in use. I'm like, I never knew this was an issue.
I don't miss the conversations I used to hear around the office. Open plan,
Oh yes,
hot desking,
open plan, yeah.
and you can just hear so many different conversations that you really don't want to be any part of. Or sometimes, which is worse, I would get stuck sitting next to the chatterbox of the group.
Oh yes.
I knew too much about her, I didn't want to know.
Well, I would often hear
Anything
about
about her.
people who had been away the previous day and they're like, oh yeah, my kids had gastro, there was just stuff everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay. And also in an open office, you can hear someone telling someone a joke and then coming over and telling you the same joke and you're like, oh, I have to pretend you didn't hear it from across the office. I'm sure something that you don't miss recently is living with alarms. I had to get up at the same time every day for 8 years. Yeah, I won't miss the alarms and the sound of the alarms. You're just like, triggering. Have to change those alarm tones now for other alarms. Something I won't miss is when people would schedule meetings at the very end of a day or at the end of a Friday. Can this wait till Monday?
Can we circle back to this?
Yeah, that's right. When you work in an office, the time is when every other business is open. Sometimes you got to duck off early to get to places.
It does affect your whole life, like your fitness. Because you end up just sitting at a desk for 8 hours. I was seeing people who had been there for a long time.
Just in the chair.
And there'd be a cart that they would push around the office that had all these different packets of chips.
Like room service.
Biscuits and cakes and snacks and things.
Wow, don't even have to leave the
And they
seat.
just sit there and reach around and get their snack.
Won't miss that. Something I don't miss at all is being around so many people all the time.
The whole list kind of comes back to
Yeah, we just don't want,
we don't want to be around people.
I don't know if it's just because you're in this small space, but even more things annoy you because you can't get away.
Oh yeah, you're stuck with it.
I mean, I was probably driving people nuts with like clicky pens and like swinging around on my chair. I'm on someone else's list.
Yeah, that's right. And I would be too.
People would take their shoes off under the desk and you could smell when that happens.
Oh no.
Or you'd go down to fix a cord underneath and you'd see
There'd be
feet.
toes. Oh.
Body odor. That's an awkward one. Someone's walking around with some body odor issues.
Again, the recycled air.
Yep.
Stuck with it.
But I have to say, I think the worst thing about offices is icebreaker games. Does anybody like them?
It's so awkward.
Say interesting things about yourself. Like, I'm not listening to anybody. I'm just like, oh my god, what am I going to say that's going to work in this sort of situation and not going to prompt any further questions? And it's like no one wants to be there. I kind of understand the point of it.
Yeah, I kind of get it, but also we just want to do the job, get paid, go home.
Exactly. I mean, I worked with wonderful people.
I made some pretty good friends being in that office.
Yeah. It's just such an unnatural thing to be in an office all day, isn't it? Like, it's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's not right.
I mean, most people have to do it. It's so strange when you really think about it.
Yeah, it's gross.